Breaking overnight, President Trump greeting the newly freed American hostages back to the U.S. after months of imprisonment in North Korea. It has been a remarkable morning. Here now to react to this historic event is Asia analyst and the author of Nuclear Showdown, Gordon Chang. There's nobody better to have on set this morning. We thank you so much. How significant is what we just saw?
It is extremely significant, and largely because this is going to be just weeks before our president sits down with Kim Jong-un, the first time a sitting North Korean leader and sitting American president have gotten together. And, of course, the issues are consequential. You not only have the nukes, you've got ballistic missiles, you've got the Japanese abductees. Maybe there's a fourth American there. You know, there's all sorts of things that we got to talk about.
Let's focus on the nuke discussion. What does this portend for the nuclear discussion that we expect to happen in Singapore in June?
It's a good sign because these three were in good health. They were able to walk on the plane by themselves. This is in contrast to Otto Warmbier, who was released in June of last year. He was in extremely poor condition, a vegetative state, died shortly after returning to the U.S. Then the North Koreans didn't like us. Now the North Koreans want to create some goodwill, so they kept these guys in good condition.
But do you have a sense as to what Kim Jong-un is willing to give up and what we are willing to accept? I'm asking you to sort of predict what the outcome is going to be of June's meetings.
Well, you know, for us, the only thing that we're willing to accept is a complete disarmament of North Korea. And that's absolutely critical. Our allies depend on it. We depend on it. The whole, world's nuclear nonproliferation regime depends on disarming North Korea. Now, Kim, of course, doesn't want to do that. But then again, this is not a question of what Kim wants. This is a question of what President Trump will do, because we've got the power, short of the use of force, to disarm the North Koreans. The question is whether our president will be willing to do those things in order to protect not only the American people, but the rest of the world.
We heard President Trump there while the hostages were being released, or while the detainees were being released, and he said he thinks Kim Jong-un really wants to enter the real world. You know this area so well. Do you agree with that statement?
I think he might want to enter the real world with his nukes. Okay. And so, it's going to be up to us to make sure that that doesn't happen. And as I mentioned, we can do that. I mean, we can tighten the sanctions on North Korea. We can actually go after North Korea's major power backers, Russia and China, who have been supporting North Korea to varying degrees. They're better now than they were 2 years ago. But, when you go back 2 months, China's markedly deteriorated in its sanctions enforcement. These are things that we have to do. Now, that doesn't really matter, Todd, if North Korea gives up its nukes, but if it doesn't, then we've got to start pushing the Chinese around.
You mentioned a fourth detainee that sort of got lost in all the exciting news about these three detainees and, of course, the Otto Warmbier sad situation. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That's David Snedden, who disappeared from China in 2004 in mysterious circumstances. The Chinese police reports are obvious fabrications. It looks like North Korean agents took him in order that he could teach English. Some people say that he taught English to Kim Jong-un. There's at least one report of David Snedden being sighted in North Korea. At this point, we really don't know. But what we do need to do is get a confirmation from the North Koreans that they don't hold him, or an admission that they do. This is just like the Japanese who were taken by North Korea for language instruction.
Just quickly, does this gum up the works on the June summit?
I don't think that it does, but it's something that we can't forget, because this is another American who very well may be in that tyrannical state.
Gordon Chang, amazing perspective, obviously, on an historic morning. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thanks, Todd.